Now available in paperback and e-readers. Spellbound, a darker shade of black. Get your copy today at your favorite online bookseller. Better get the cool slow, y'all, cause we're having us a barbecue. There's been a painting floating around social media that depicts a group of black women sitting on the rooftop of a skyscraper. And as they're sitting on the rooftop of this skyscraper, they're all sitting enjoying coffee, watching New York City burn. Now, as these women are sitting on this rooftop enjoying coffee, it basically depicts these women who have natural hair enjoying all of this coffee while they watch the city burn as an American flag is draped over the side of the building. And one of the women is sitting there with a t-shirt on saying that she's a part of the 92% of black women who went out here and voted for Kamala Harris in the 2024 election. Now, this painting or picture basically is trying to create an image, to create a narrative regarding black women being the ones who went out here and looked to so-called preserve democracy, and wants to promote a similar narrative to the image of Rolling Stone magazine in 2020 during the George Floyd riots, when they wanted to depict the image of the black woman as the face of the protest and looked to depict the black woman as the image of the face of the protest in an effort to emasculate and minimize the black man and minimize the black man's whole power as a man. And that same thing is being done here as related to this image of all of these black women who are sitting there enjoying coffee on the top of this skyscraper as they watch New York City burn, enjoying coffee. Now, this whole picture in and of itself is supposed to be a commentary saying that these women are going to sit there and enjoy watching the country burn because the country supported Donald Trump, and because they did the right thing by supporting Kamala Harris, they feel no guilt or shame as related to their actions. And this picture, as I see it, basically is another case of Trump derangement syndrome. And again, I am no supporter of Donald Trump. No, I am no supporter of Donald Trump at all, but I see this whole picture as a major case of Trump derangement syndrome as related to the depiction of black women. And this depiction of black women basically makes it look like black women were out here supporting Kamala Harris and believing that this was the thing to do. When in actuality, what was happening is many black women basically got spellbound by the narrative that was created around Kamala Harris, and because many black women got spellbound by the narrative presented regarding Kamala Harris being a black woman, this is what led to many black women creating a covert contract with Kamala Harris based on their feelings without ever taking a critical look at her policies. Because what happened here with Kamala Harris is very similar to what happened with the Duchess of Ratchetness, Meghan Markle. Many black women basically got caught up in their feelings about Meghan Markle because she was biracial, and because she was a biracial black woman involved with a white man of high social status like Prince Harry. What happened with many black women is that as they got spellbound, they created a covert contract around Meghan Markle, looking to accept her as black because they wanted to say that there was a black woman who was involved with a member of the royal family and believed that this would elevate their social status as black women. And this is the reflexive property of light skin going on here, a reflexive property similar to math logic problems, because usually when it comes to biracial black women, a lot of times most full black women express their contempt for the biracial black woman if she decides to get involved with a black man and looks to identify as black. This is where those women basically look to reverse things and express their anger because they think that that biracial woman is taking a black man from them. However, if that biracial black woman goes out here and gets involved with a white man, or a non-black man, what happens is that that black woman will then look to claim that woman as black as part of that reflexive property of light skin in a covert contract, and look to again do this because she believes that this biracial black woman, by being involved with that white man, will elevate her social status. And the same thing goes on as related to Kamala Harris, who is not a black woman. What many black women wanted to do was look to elevate their social status by saying that Kamala Harris was black because the mainstream media tried to tell everyone that she was black, and two, what they wanted to do was elevate their social status by trying to claim Kamala Harris as black in an effort to elevate the black woman's social status from the bottom of society by saying that if this woman got elected, they could create a covert contract where they could elevate their social status to a high level. And this is what was happening as related to many black women who were mesmerized and spellbound by the narrative created by the media revolving around Kamala Harris. And as they created this whole narrative around Kamala Harris, they basically created this narrative and looked to try to again appeal to black women's low self-esteem, appeal to black women's need to be accepted by white society, appeal to what black women's need for the attention and validation of white society, and look to use this to again appeal to black women based on their emotions to get their support for Kamala Harris, and look to get their support for Kamala Harris as related to the 2024 election, and look to get their support without ever offering them anything tangible or ever any sort of analysis of any of Kamala Harris's policies overall. And sadly, a lot of black women, due to their low self-esteem and low self-worth, basically bought into the media's narratives regarding Kamala Harris and bought into those narratives hook, line, and sinker, because what they were spellbound by was Kamala Harris and what she had to offer them as related to elevating their social status, and they wanted that intangible more than they wanted to get tangible policies that would benefit black people. And that's why we saw so many black women so rabid for supporting Kamala Harris. We saw so many black women rabid to support Kamala Harris because they were caught up in their feelings and caught up in their feelings about being accepted. And because they were so caught up in their feelings about being accepted, this is why many black women took it so personal who supported Kamala Harris. They took it extremely personal as related to supporting this woman, never taking that critical look at her policies. And since they didn't want to take that critical look at her policies, this is why we saw this block of voters again go out here to vehemently support Kamala Harris, even though when we look at her record, she clearly was not anyone who was an ally to black women in any way, shape, or form. Now, Kamala Harris, in and of herself, basically has a record of looking to persecute black women the same way she looked to persecute black men when she was an attorney general as related to, again, truancy issues. As related to truancy issues, she wanted to, again, go out here and arrest and prosecute homeless black women the same way she looked to prosecute black men and looked to hold black men beyond their sentences, and wasn't again looking to go out here and look out for black people. No, that what she was looking to do was again maintain the status quo as related to the system of white supremacy. But you could not tell that to most black women who were a part of that 92%. No, you couldn't tell that to them, because for them, a vote for Kamala Harris meant a vote for them to gain more clout in the America and the system of white supremacy, and they were more interested in gaining more clout and favor in the system of white supremacy than understanding what politics is about and what the political process is about. Because the political process in and of itself is supposed to be a business transaction, and it's supposed to be a transaction where you are going out here and supporting a candidate who is supporting your agenda, and that candidate, as they support your agenda, is going to bring you things that are tangible, such as cash, such as earmarks, such as grants. They're supposed to be bringing money back to you as a community. Unfortunately, when it came to the contingent of black women who supported Kamala Harris, all they were thinking about was going out here and elevating their social status and thinking about social currency. And unfortunately, when it comes to social currency doesn't have a tangible value. No, social currency does not have a tangible value whatsoever. No, social currency basically, yes, it gets you attention and it may get people to look at you for a minute, but it doesn't leave any sort of tangible wealth. And this is one of the worst reasons to support a candidate. But those in the media basically wanted to go out here and manipulate black women as a collective, hoping to get some easy votes by going out here and playing to black women's fragile egos and their low self-esteem, by going out here and trying to play a playbook that they played back in 2008 with Barack Obama. And as they took the playbook from 2008 with Barack Obama, they hope to take another biracial candidate and hope to use this biracial candidate to go out here and sell their platform, and sell their platform based on an argument that Donald Trump is so evil and so bad. But the whole thing is, they didn't have a platform with an agenda or a platform with actual policies. And the policies that Kamala Harris basically supported were ones that were anti-black, so that really alienated a core base of black male voters. Moreover, it alienated a small contingent of black female voters, and that's what led to basically the black vote being the deciding factor in the 2024 election. But sadly, this picture, as it's looking to depict these black women, shows a very bad trait about black women in being indignant about making a bad decision, being indignant about making a bad decision as related to supporting Kamala Harris by saying you'll sit there and watch the nation burn, not understanding if the nation burns, you go with the nation. Now, what's really interesting here about this picture is, while it shows the 92% of these black women sitting there enjoying their coffee, watching the nation burn, what they don't tell you is about how that 92% of black women are basically a major part of the 70% of black women who basically made the black community burn due to their dysfunctional matriarchal decisions. Now, this whole group that supported Kamala Harris basically is the same contingent of black women who had no problem watching their whole community fall completely apart under their leadership. Now, these women basically came from the generation that came up that supported the feminist movement, supported the welfare state, and wound up taking welfare and government and affirmative action jobs. And as they took these jobs to be the de facto leaders of the black community, after kicking the black man out of the black community to make a compromise with white supremacy, to basically say that they will basically be the new stewards of the community once we got the black man out, these women basically had no problem watching their community burn as their children basically grew up to become children of the corn, grew up like wild stalks, and became completely out of control. And as they became completely out of control, they basically wound up participating in a civil war under their leadership, in the crack epidemic. And as they participated in that civil war, we watched as the black economy went from being black-owned businesses to winding up being businesses controlled outside of the black community. And as we watched as Hispanic bodega owners, Dominican barbers, Korean hair and nail salons, Korean vegetable stands, Indian fast food restaurants, Arab corner grocery stores came and took over the economy, the black woman basically sat there and allowed this to happen. And as these people wound up taking 97% of their money out of the community and allowing them to live middle class and upper middle class lifestyles where they send their kids to private schools while her kids struggle in a public school, this is where the black community again is burning, and she sits there and watches it as she's out here with an arrested development of a mental age of about 14 to 16 years old, still out here chasing Pookie and Ray Ray, still involved in all lots of drama, watching her community burn, and again not having a care about watching that community burn. And that's what this artist doesn't want to talk about. They want to talk about, oh, Donald Trump as related to that, related to this picture. But I got another picture to show you. Again, the picture of the black community. And again, what we see here is this black community, again, they don't want to talk about, they'll talk about the nation burning, but the black community been burning for over about 60 years, and nobody want to talk about anything about that part of the subject at all as related to this image. I mean, that 92% of black women that supported Kamala Harris supported the complete destruction of the black community as we went from a black economy to one that basically is codependent, where we became, instead of being the producers, became the consumers. They don't want to talk about that side of the story as related to matriarchal leadership and how it's a complete failure. No, they want to talk about how Kamala Harris basically not winning would lead to the nation burning. Well, that Kamala Harris, had she won, would have done nothing for black women, similar to what Barack Obama did for black people. I mean, Kamala Harris basically was another one of these candidates who, again, was meant to bamboozle black people into believing that she was, again, because she had a certain skin color, she would basically be somebody that would be good for the office, and again, would be an empty symbolic person, again, symbolizing, oh, we've elected a person of color passively, but aggressively this person is not going to create any sort of tangible policy for foundational black Americans, and won't do that because she basically has gotten what she wants. She's married to this white man of a certain ethnic religion. She's a stepmother to his children, and has not settled in a black community for years, and wants nothing to do with a black community. But you can't tell that to the spellbound black women, the spellbound black women who want to fit themselves into a black box that's acceptable to white people and want to be a part of things. Not saying that Kamala Harris was not a viable candidate because she had no foreign policy experience, and according to articles, her whole vice presidential office was completely chaotic. Her whole vice presidential office was a complete piece of chaos where nothing was running right. And if we look at her campaign and how she spent $1 billion and basically wound up $20 million in debt, she was not a good fiscal manager. But you can't explain that to many black women who are just caught up in their feelings because, again, they want to enforce a covert contract where they hope to, again, elevate their social status by making Kamala Harris into their avatar, and looking to make her into their avatar because they basically wanted to see, again, somebody representing them. But the person they had representing them did not even see them as somebody they respected. No, she had nothing but contempt for black people, had nothing but contempt for black people. But you couldn't tell that to the black women who, again, were mesmerized and spellbound by this whole thing. That 92%, again, ran to go vote for Kamala Harris because they wanted to live in a rose-colored reality where they believed that she would acknowledge them. But you have to look at who she was supporting. Again, she went out here and looked to support celebrities overall, and looked to use celebrities to mesmerize and spellbind black people. You have to use these celebrities to mesmerize and spellbind you into supporting her. But many people didn't, who were white and non-black, and even some black men and some black women, saw through all of this ruse and saw that this woman basically wasn't looking to go out here and looking to serve the American people. No, she was looking to continue maintaining a status quo, as related to America that keeps black people at the bottom, because she got up to the top by looking to support the system of white supremacy. Now, what's really mind-boggling about this image is that it depicts black women with natural black hair, and I found that to be absolutely mind-boggling because the 92% that actually supported Kamala Harris didn't wear natural hair. No, the 92% of black women that supported Kamala Harris, most of those women would be wearing wigs and weaves and basically be out here wearing a white woman or an Indian woman's hair on their head. But this artist wants to say, oh, it's the natural hair sisters that would be out here looking to support this whole situation. And this basically shows how out of touch this artist is as related to black women. No, this artist really does not know black women at all, because a good chunk of the sisters who look like this would basically be sitting there saying, hey, I'm staying home because there's nothing tangible on the table. And since there's nothing tangible on the table for us as a collective, then I'm going to stay home and not vote for anyone. Going to vote for the couch. Going to vote for the couch because this candidate has not supported a black agenda. And since they haven't supported a black agenda, then I'm going to sit there and stay home. That's what any rational, critical thinking person would have said about the 2024 presidential election, since there's nothing tangible on the table for us as a collective, since neither of these candidates look to give us anything outside of promises of preserving democracy, which was just a bunch of BS from the Biden administration, again, talking about preserving democracy as, again, an empty gesture when we are a constitutional republic, and again, saying that we need to not vote for Donald Trump without ever saying what you're going to offer. This was one of the reasons why Kamala Harris basically got crushed in the 2024 election. She wound up getting crushed because she really did not have a platform. She really did not have an agenda, like in 1968 when Lyndon Johnson could not run. Basically, once Lyndon Johnson proved that he could not run, they basically had to run the vice president because that's all they had. And sadly, like a WWE jobber like Mario Mancini, she wound up getting crushed and got crushed because in their 90 days that they were spending this $1 billion, Kamala Harris never had a vision, never had a message, and outside of black women, everyone saw that she had no vision and no message. And this collective of black women who were part of the 92%, they were not thinking about how this woman was going to represent the country. How was she going to represent the country if she couldn't even manage the vice president's office? Critical question I've got to ask that collective of black women. How would this woman be able to manage that office if she couldn't manage the vice president's office, which had massive turnover and massive chaos in 2021? And then in 2024, this woman is given $1 billion to basically run for 90 days. And instead of her creating a campaign where she can go out here and present her message of what her vision was for the country, what she does is go out here and make blunder after blunder, trying to go out here and pay all of these black bootlicks and shills, and even with the support of the mainstream media, could not get a message across because she had no message at all, and basically wound up showing how weak a candidate she was when she didn't go out here and talk to people like Joe Rogan, who basically could have gone out here and presented the hardball questions. No, what she did was go out here and look to create softball interviews that basically did not sell her as a candidate or sell her agenda. And she didn't have an agenda to sell because her head is as empty it's just empty, and again, completely empty all around. But you can't explain this to black women who, again, got caught up and mesmerized by her light skin, like some black women do when they want to clout chase. You'll have some dark-skinned women who'll go out here and look to clout chase the light-skinned girl because they want to get her attention and approval, showing how some sisters out here basically are still stuck on a slave plantation, and again, spellbound to the point where they are mesmerized by light skin. And that's what I talk about as related to the dark side of light skin. I did a whole video talking about the dark side of light skin. And basically, as they get caught up in the dark side of light skin, they deal with people who use their light skin powers for evil. And I put that in my new book, Spinsterella Goth Girl Summer, because Matilda talks about using your light skin powers for evil, and Kamala Harris was basically using her light skin powers for evil, hoping to mesmerize the masses, and sadly shows how the influence of light skin power is basically over black women. That's what's shown in this whole picture. It shows how there's a good group of black women out here who still are mesmerized by light skin, and influenced by light skin, and so influenced by the whole light skin, dark skin thing that they basically will follow in the footsteps of a ragdoll dance entranced behind a candidate who basically wasn't going to do anything for anyone and basically was going to keep the nation on the bad road Joe Biden put it on back in 2020 when he said he could do nothing for black people and told us to get behind Hispanics. Well, the Hispanics basically got behind Donald Trump. So if Joe Biden told black people to get behind the Hispanics and the Hispanics are behind Donald Trump, then maybe shouldn't have the black people supported Trump in larger numbers? Critical question I've got to ask. But we did see black men voting Donald Trump more often. And again, voting without any sort of agenda is a bad thing and not something you want to do. But the whole thing is this picture shows how out of touch the artist is as related to black women, and how black women as a collective, or in some cases politically, don't see the subtle politics transpiring around you, because 92% of them supported a losing strategy, a losing candidate, supported a losing platform, and again supported a losing platform, talking about how they're going to be proud to watch the nation burn, when in actuality your community has been burning for over 60 years and falling apart over 60 years due to the dysfunctional leadership of black women who keep voting straight down a blue ticket that does nothing for them year after year. Now, if you want to check out some of my action-packed fantasy fiction that presents a positive image of both black men and black women, you can pick up the book, my first full comic, John Haynes at Death Store, on Lulu.com by clicking the link in the description box, and you can pick up my second comic, Esteem No Good Deed, on Kindle for 99 cents, or in the Esteem series book Blast from the Past, or you can pick up some of my action-packed SJS Direct Universe books like the ISIS series, the Esteem series, the John Haynes series, the books of the Spinsterella trilogy, and especially my novel Spellbound, which goes in depth on being on the darker shade of black and the whole dark side of light skin, and how a lot of people get caught up in looking to fit themselves in the black boxes that are acceptable to white people. You can find that novel Spellbound and my other books on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find them at other online booksellers like Draft the Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. And if you want to see me make more videos taking media like this to the barbecue, you can drop a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, Taking Care of Business. The man who rules the world breaks in a brand new partner to help him take care of business in this action-packed, all-new John Haynes series adventure. Get John Haynes, Taking Care of Business at paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere. Now available in paperback and e-readers, Isis, the Beauty Myth. Learn the beauty secrets of the goddess next door in this action-packed Isis series adventure. Get Isis, the Beauty Myth at online booksellers everywhere today. Support black-owned and black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.